some wonderful caramels over in my hotel room if you'd care to...
Mr. Hill.
Professor.
Professor of what? At what college did they give a degree for annoying women on the street like a Saturday night rowdy at a public dance hall?
Oh, I wouldn't know anything about that. I'm a conservatory man myself. Gary, Indiana. Gold medal class of 05.
Even should that happen to be true, does that give you the right to follow me around wherever I go? Another thing, Mr. Hill, I'm not as easily mesmerized or hoodwinked as some people in this town, and I find it only fair to warn you that I have a shelf full of reference books that may very well give me some interesting information about you. Thank you.
Hey, Gregory. Oh, hi, Marcellus. And don't call me Greg.
How'd you make out with the music teacher?
Scrumptious. Ate out of my hand the minute I tipped my hat.
She did? Well, boy, did you cut a swath tonight. For a minute, even I thought you knew something about leading a band. Just like when you used to imitate that band concert fellow back in Joplin.
Yeah. Kid stuff. I'm in rare form these days, son. Just you keep your eye on me for the next 4 weeks.
4 weeks? It only used to take 10 days for the instruments to arrive.
Still does. Takes 4 weeks for the uniforms.
Oh, no, Greg, you haven't added uniforms?
Uniforms and instruction books.
Instruction books? But you can't pass yourself off as a music professor. I mean, not for any 4 weeks.
Mars.
But you don't know one note from another.
I have a revolutionary new method called the think system. We don't bother with notes.
Yeah, but in 4 weeks, people want to hear music. You have to lead a band.
Ah, but when the uniforms arrive, they forget about everything. At least long enough for me to collect and leave. Oh, this is a refined operation, son. And I've got it timed right down to the last wave of the brakeman's hand on the last train out of town. And now, Mr. Washburn, if you'll excuse me.
You're gonna line yourself up a little canoodling, huh?
Well?
Say, I can fix you up with Ethel's sister. Lovely girl. Teaches Sunday school.
No wide-eyed, eager, wholesome, innocent Sunday school teacher for me. That kind of gal spins webs no spider ever listened for. A gal who trades on all that purity. Really wants to trade my independence for her security. The only alternative she will find refers to marching down the aisle of golden, glorious, gleaming, pristine guys. No, for no Diana do I play fawn. I can tell you that right now. I snarl, I hiss, how can ignorance be compared to bliss? I spark, I fizz, for the lady who knows what time it is. I cheer, I rave, for the virtue I'm too late to save. The sentiment wines a girl for me. Bright-eyed, blushing, breathless, baby doll, baby. No, sir, that kind of child ties knots no sailor ever knew. I prefer to take a chance on a more adult romance. No, to the young miss who keeps resisting all the time she keeps insisting. No wide-eyed, wholesome, innocent female. No, sir, she's the fisherman, I'm the fish. You see, I flinch, I shine. When the last, the delicate air goes by, I smile, I grin. When the cow touch the shame walks in, I hope and I pray for Hester to win just one more day. The sadder but wiser girl, the girl for me. The sadder but wiser girl for me.
Professor Hill, we're on the bump, simply above, on the Kavir.
Everyone is so excited about the band.
And Ethel Toffenmeyer, the pianola girl.
And this is Mrs. Squires and Mrs. Hicks. And of course you've met Eulalie McKechnie Shin, our mayor's wife. Isn't it exciting, Eulalie?
Oh, I couldn't say it this time. My husband will wish to investigate, I'm sure. And naturally I'm reticent. Oh yes, reticent.
Of course, I understand, Mrs. Shin. You see, part of my musical plans include a committee on the dancing. Oh, no, wait. Do that again. Your foot, the way you moved it just now.
Oh, Bunyan there, that
Oh, what grace! What natural flow of rhythm! What expression of line and movement!
Mr. Hill!
Why, you simply must accept the chairmanship for the ladies' auxiliary of the classic dance. Mustn't she, ladies?
Oh, yes, please, Eulalie, you must.
Why, every move you make bespeaks Delsart. Will you say yes, Mrs. Shin?
Eulalie McKechnie Shin. Ah, well, that is dancing.
Then you accept?
Yes, indeed, I would like to say.
Thank you. And now the young lady who plays the piano, Miss, Marion Peru? Well, after all, she's the librarian.
Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheep, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more, pick a
dirty books.
Dirty books.
Chaucer, Rabelais,
Balzac. And the worst thing, of course, she typed it.
Otto. The man lives on my street. Let me tell.
Stop! I'll tell. She made brazen overtures to a man who never had a friend in this town till she came here. Old Miser Madison.
Miser Madison. Madison Picnic Park, Madison Gymnasium, Madison Hospital. That Miser Madison?
Who do you think he was anyway?
I should say, the show-off. He gave the town a library too, didn't he?
That's just it. When he died, he left the town the library.
And he left all the books to her.
She was seen going and coming from his place.
Oh yes, oh yes. That woman made brazen overtures with a guilt-touch guarantee. She had golden glints in her eyes, a silver voice with a counterfeit ring. Just melt her down in your ruby, all hopeful but as cold as the oak here, where a woman's heart should be. He left River City, the library building, but he left all the books to her. Chaucer, Rabelais, Balzac.
Wait a minute here.
Of course. Come with me. Good night, ladies. It's all right. I know everything and it doesn't make any difference.
What are you talking about?
You were probably very young. Anyone can make a mistake.
What do you...
No apologies, no explanations, please. You see, I'll only be in town a short while and, the sadder but wiser girl for me.
Will you please make your selection and leave?
I have.
Well, what do you want to take out?
The librarian.
Quiet, please.
Shh. The librarian. You're not listening, Mary. Look. Mary. Horrible. 6 Steelies, 8 Aggies, a dozen Kiwis, and one big lassie with an American flag in it. Oh, I think I'll drop.
No!
Madam Librarian. What can I say? I need to catch your key. I love you badly, badly, Madam Librarian. Marion, heaven help us if the library caught on fire and the volunteer home brigadesmen had to whisper the news to Marion. Madam Librarian. What can I do? I need to make it clear. I need to badly, badly, Madam Librarian. Marion, if I stumble and I bump my what's-it-called, I can lie on your floor unnoticed. My body had turned to carrion. Madam Librarian. Now, who am I dear. I love you madly, madly, madam, my Marion. Marion, it's a long, long call. And it never will for the civilized world except if it will sing any talking out loud with him. Librarian, such as Marion, Madam Librarian. I love you madly, madly, madam, my Marion. Marion, the long, long call. And never will, for the civilized world except forgivable things. And he talks out loud with Nancy, librarian, such as Marion. Ladies dance committee meets Tuesday nights at the high school. Madam Librarian. Marshmallow? Well, Tommy, we had a pretty good day. 11 sales out of 12 tries. Tell you what, it's almost noon. Why don't you go home and get some supper? I'll handle a few on my own. Professor. Thanks, Tommy.
Now, just a minute here, are you soliciting?
Mr. Mayor, why no, I collect doorbells, and this particular specimen has a peculiar tone quality that just...
Flattery will not avail you. Soliciting is statutory in this county. Malfeasance without a permit. Why haven't you been down at City Hall with your papers yet?
I just miss you, Mr. Mayor. Oh no.
What? What?
And that spread of your little finger. It's hereditary.
Oh, it is, and what does that mean?
It means that your boy's finger is perfectly situated to operate the spit valve on a B-flat flugelhorn.
Is that good?
It means America has finally produced an artist that can flugel a minute waltz in 50 seconds.
And how could I get one of those horns?
Sign right here, Mr. Mayor. That'll be $13 import fee.
Yes, sir. Just think I could have missed this whole I haven't got a son. You unscrupulous, you unscrupulous fly-by-night. You'll be down at City Hall with your papers at 3 o'clock.
This afternoon?
I couldn't make myself any plainer if I was a Quaker on his day off.
Mrs. Peru, do you realize that you have all the facial characteristics of a cornet virtuoso?
I don't know if I understand you entirely, Professor.
Well, if your boy has that same firm chin, those splendid cheek muscles, by George, well, not that he could ever really be great, you know.
Oh, that's so. Then the name is Bridget, why not?
Well, all the really great cornet players were Irish. O Mendes, O Mufasa,
Oh,
O Kim.
Professor, we are Irish.
No. No, well, that clinches it. Sign right here, Mrs. Peru. Your boy was born to play the cornet. Fine, fine. That'll be $7 earnest money. Not a penny more due till the first installment, payable at the opening of band practice. Thank you. And of course, I will need the boy's measurements for his uniform.
His uniform.
Why, hello there, son. Why, of course, his uniform. And not a penny will be due until delivery, which gives him 4 weeks to enjoy, to anticipate, to imagine at no cost whatsoever. Never let the demands of tomorrow interfere with the pleasures and excitements of today.
Would it have
A stripe? Why, sure, a bright silver stripe going down each side. Now, what do you think of that?
You'll have to excuse Winthrop, Professor. We can't get him to say 3 words a day even to us. And if you can get him to play in the band, you'll have St. Michael's own way with you. But if anybody can do it, I bet you can. Out of a crowd, I'd pick you for a hood-carrying, clay-pipe-smoking, shamrock-wearing, harp-playing, mahogany-pitching, tarot minstrel-singing Irishman. Be gob and be jabbers. Where you from, me boy?
Gary, Indiana.
I knew it. Where did you say?
Gary, Indiana. In fact,
How do you do, Mr. Hill?
Peru, of course. I thought the name sounded familiar. I've been trying to see you since the other night.
He wants to put Winthrop in the band.
We're not interested, Mama.
But Marion, the boy might have his father's musical gift. He does in my jaw, you know.
Your husband is musical? Well, I'd like to talk
Do
to
you burst in on everyone's home like this? Prying into personal affairs? We're not interested.
Marion.
Well, that's 1 for and 1 against. Why not let the boy's father decide?
The boy's father is dead. Anything else?
Oh, I am sorry. But that's all the more reason why your brother should have something.
My brother is a 10-year-old problem child who can't understand why his father was taken away. Would you care to explain it to him? He's been brooding about it for 2 years. And as to your musical tricks, why don't you go into business with some carnival man who sells gold-painted watches and glass diamond rings?
Musical tricks. Why, Miss Peru, I hardly... You know, I get the feeling she likes the idea. Oh, a little cautious, perhaps, but I admire that woman. But just keep me alive, and I'll be back later in the week.
Oh, 1 moment, Professor Head. About the boy's measurements. I make all his clothes. Sleeve 21, waist 18, crotch bar.
Well, thank you. Now I must get back to my hotel.
Professor, I do hope you'll excuse Marion. She's not really...
Oh, please don't worry about it. I'm sure that at heart, she's as lovely as herself. Good day to you, Widow Peru.
Has he gone?
He has, and I hope not forever. Darling, don't you ever think about your future. Guarantee on a conservatory class of about 5. Now, darling.
Now, Mom, surely a girl's future does not depend on encouraging every fast-talking, self-centered, woman-chasing traveling man who comes to town. And the fact that he claims his commodity is music does not impress me.
All right, darling. All right. Only it's a well-known principle that if you keep the flint in one jar and the steel in another, you'll never strike much of a fire.
Mama! Winthrop! Winthrop, I know you're there. Please go to the library and ask Miss Grubb for the book I set aside. It's the Indiana State Educational Journal, 1890 to 1910. It's a large brown book with black corners.
Do I have to?
You won't have to talk to anyone. I've written it all down. Thank you, dear.
Now, what are you up to? What do you mean, books at this hour of the night?
Well, I have a feeling that the Indiana Journal may help me poke some large holes in the professor's claims.
Well, I give up. If you don't mind my saying so, what kind of white knight do you expect to come riding along?
Well, I'm not waiting for Ludwig Reiner, who backs me up into the ancient history shelf every time he comes to the library.
He does.
Or Ed Damage in that buggy of his, with the removable back seat. But I'm not waiting for a white knight in shining armor either.
Snita, hey Snita.
Tommy, Pop and Mom are sitting right there in the bank. God!
Meet me after supper.
I can't. It's up for a date night. Meet you where?
The footbridge.
You see, isn't that what I just said? Last time in lumberyard, now the footbridge. And where will I meet you after that? The black hole of Calcutta? God!
just want to show you my new invention.
What invention?
It's a music holder for a marching band piccolo player. It still has a couple minor flaws though. When you hold it tight enough to keep the music in place, it cuts off circulation in your arm. Meanwhile, you go blind.
Tommy, it's Papa.
Is that the first thing I said or not?
Yes, George.
Yes, the very first thing I said, or I'll eat hay with the horses. I said morning of July 4th, 19th and 12th, and now look, my wife is off dancing at any and all hours instead of off in the home. But George, the school board is singing up street and down alley. My oldest girl is boodling around with some wild kid, and my business has fallen so far off, I can't find the balance sheet.
Mr. Mayor, I found something very interesting in this book about Professor Hill's alma mater.
His who?
His university.
I know all about that. In fact, that's the only thing I can ever get out of him. Gary Conservatory, class of '05.
Well, if you'll just take some time to read a little bit, you won't have to look any further. It's on page 2.
Papa, the Wells Fargo wagon is just coming up from the depot.
The Wells Fargo wagon! The Wells Fargo wagon at this hour of the day. Nonsense! The Wells Fargo wagon.
The band instrument.
The band instruments!
Here you are, Winthrop.
My cornet! Gee, thanks, Professor!
Men, you will all receive individual instruction in due course. In the meantime, stay off the streets, get acquainted with your instruments, and think about the minuet in G. La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da.
La-di-da, la-di-da.
Sister! Isn't this the most scrumpious-solical thing you ever saw? I never thought I'd see anything so scrumptious as this scrumpious-solical thing! Oh, sister!
Round one for you, Mr. Hill, but I better hear some by-God tooting out of those horns in pretty short order, or I'll see your butt down at county seat. Miss Marion, about that book.
Come on, George! Tempest Fugits!
Just a minute. You watch your phraseology. Get along if you want to. I've got to get something from the librarian. Thank you.
The ladies' dance committee meets Tuesday. day nights at the high school.